What's up, Internet Land? Zachamus Prime, aka Zachamus Prime, here with another Transformers review for you. And the figure we're taking a look at today is the Transformers Commander Class Siege Jetfire. And Jetfire can basically be summed up by he's the figure that we always wanted that we never thought to ask for. He's a pretty cool figure, actually. I saw the pictures. So I've been a fan of Jetfire for a long time. Actually, Jetfire's the whole reason that I kind of got into Macross as I grew older. But you know, I liked his on-screen representation as well, and they came out with this figure, and I guess honestly, the first thing that struck me, and it has continued to strike me as I have actually had it in hand and played with it, is that honestly, I'm legitimately certain that that Hasbro got a Fans Toys Phoenix, and they're like, what can we do to mass produce this figure? Because so many of the engineering cues are straight up Fans Toys Phoenix, and so much of how it gets from, you know, Jetfire into his plane mode, it's Fan Toys Phoenix, like all over the place. And I'm not saying that they're doing it exactly. They've actually made some improvements over the original Phoenix design, but it's really well done. I dig it. But anyhow, let's get into accessories, and this guy has just a ton of accessories. So first of all, we've got his gun here. This is molded in a nice little gray plastic. The barrel is painted in the gunmetal. Good detail on this. Looks really cool. You can take and split it into two separate guns. You can fold this up to make that other single handle come out. This one's just got a single handle built into it. You can hold those in his hands. I'll show that in a little bit. He comes with a little gun like this, actually two little ones like that. Two little ones like this. Couple of armor gun parts like this. A little face mask thing. And a big armor like this. Plus he also comes with a pile of these little effects parts. So let's kind of go over. There's no real right or wrong about how they go together. So I'm just gonna throw them on this figure, and hopefully nobody ostracizes me. So first thing we want to do is we want to pop out these little tabs right here in his chest. Pop out. Yes. Sometimes taking the rest of the chest with him. And so these little tabs come out, and there's these two little slots in this armor piece, and they will go in like so. Like so. Like so. Like so. Take his little face mask and put it on. Interesting thing about this face mask is it goes on with this single peg right here. And that peg goes in right here. There's no peg hole here. That's actually just like a spring-loaded little doodad, which is cool. I like that sort of stuff. Hidden peg holes are cool. We can get his guns into his hands. One of the super cool things about this is that so you can see here his fingers have got this little tab right here, and then there's another tab hiding under there, and then there's a couple tabs on this part that's in here. So as you fold this down, this little circle part pops out, and when you fold it up, it backs away. That's super cool. I like that. That's a fun little design. So bring those down. Plug his guns in. I think his guns are named Des and Troy. So those will go in like that. You can take these little doodads here, plug them into pulls on his legs. I don't know. I always like to plug him into his arms, but then it leaves his legs like all like bare. But I like the way they look on his arms better than how they look on his legs. Especially since they don't really rotate all that freely, and when you put them on his arms, they at least point the right direction. But we can take these, I guess, and stick those on his legs. Yeah, like that. That's so awesome. Yeah. Did I just discover something new? Oh, hey, look. There's a whole nother part in there. Huh. There's a whole nother part in there. This one's been wrong the whole time, I guess. There's like a little tab in that. And a little notch. I know it's like black on black and whatnot, but cool. And if you wanted to, there's like panels that they're little things that you can, pegs that you can pop out here. And you can like plug these in there and rotate them or not. So just a ton of options that you can get with all this stuff. You can see that this guy is looking all fabulous. I'd actually emphasize one of the big things about it, which I will get to in just a little bit. Then you can take these accessory parts and you can stack them up like this. And be like big old fire thing. Or you can separate them out and have them be, effects parts, or like, shooting things. They'll go into any 5mm peg hole, or they will plug into any 3mm peg. So, you've got just a bajillion options. And I like options. It's good to have options. I also like that some of these little like 5mm or 3mm pegs are asymmetrical. So you can have things on one side and not on the other side. I don't know. Asymmetry has always been kind of cool. So there he is with all of his stuff put on him. And I like how this kind of homages the G1 toy Jetfire. I also like the way the helmet homages the G1 toy Jetfire. I just wish that it had like ear guns on the side. Like I really, really wish that it had ear guns on the side, because it just looks like Jetfire if he was bald. Also, I think it's kind of swanky that if you take a look at his face, you can actually see if the lighting is right, and it won't be when I'm bringing it up. It shows up in person, I promise. His eyes are just like right through that visor. It line up really well, which is something that like the old classics Jetfire, like he had the whole helmet thing that came on, and it was really cool, but his eyes didn't quite line up with that. That wasn't a big problem at all. But it's one of those things that like I don't think anybody would care if it's not like that, but since it is like that, people notice and they think it's cool. So anyhow, let's strip all this down, get into articulation. Get all of his like piles of accessories out of the way. So, alright. Headphone users beware, this guy, like most things on him click. So his head is on a hinge joint here. It'll look up and down, rotate freely. Good detail all over them. Just the surface detail for Siege figures is so nice. I like it a lot. Shoulders go up that far till they bang into the wings. Go back that far till they bang into the wings. Go up that far. It's pretty good. Keep in mind that there are lots of different joints in here and things are going to start moving around in weird ways. So feel free to brace things as you move them around if you need to. Elbow joint is technically double jointed in that you've got, your joint right here and your joint like down here. Not a whole lot of motion out of it. And if you're moving it just at that joint, you got to kind of like sit here, step those over so that it looks more normal again. Rotation at the elbow. Rotation at the wrist. Of course, the hand posability. This is one of the things that kind of gets me. This plugs into here with just like one little peg, and it's not a very strong peg. And as you hold this or move it or do anything, that will like to come unpegged all the time, and it sucks. I'm sorry. This isn't really articulation, just more of a little detail. But you can actually take this and flip that around to a Decepticon symbol, as you may recall from the G1 show that introduced him, the G1 episode that introduced him. He was originally a Decepticon, and then he decided, F you guys, I'm going to be an Autobot. And then he went away for like a whole bunch of episodes. Yeah. Little side skirts move up out of the way so you can get, full Van Damme out of him. Legs go forward that much. Legs go back that much. Rotation at the hip, like 180 degrees of rotation at the hip. Single joint at the knee gives about 90 degrees there. Oh, I forgot to mention he has a waist joint. Ankle joint goes for tilting hella. Of course, that leaves like all this like empty space in there. The final frontier. Little toe and heel can kind of move a little bit, but there is no forward and back rock whatsoever, which is kind of a bummer. I really do wish that these joints, I'm not necessarily hoping that they were ratchet joints, but I really wish that these joints in the hips were stronger joints. You tend to, as you're messing with this figure, he just kind of like sags down and, does that thing as in short order, as I'm sure you saw from me when I was plugging in all of his accessory stuff, and he's like all like drooping like this. It's unfortunate. I wish that these were tighter. I do not wish that they were ratchet joints, because ratchet joints are a complete pain in the ass. But I do wish that they were tighter. But alright, let's get down to his transformation. Oh, one of the things I wanted to point out that's kind of interesting, and I don't know, they actually, looking at my screen, this does show up on camera. They've got like white paint painted onto his white parts. And it's really interesting because it's this like eggshell white painted on the like really glaringly white. And it just, it's really subtle, and I think that a lot of people haven't even noticed it. But if you haven't noticed it, you're welcome. Now you can't unnotice it. So he's got this off-white just kind of gradiented onto his leg and his down here. You can see it really prevalent here because this is painted and this is not. And you can see just a big difference right there. I think that's where it's the most pronounced. It's also kind of interesting, parts like this. Of course, this is the polyoxymethylene, and it can't be painted because it just doesn't react. It doesn't respond well to paint. And so that's just white, and then this is like the off-white. And stuff like down in here, I don't know why this isn't painted here, but it's not. So, kind of an interesting thing. Really good paint apps on this figure overall, though. This gunmetal back here. White paint apps, actually. white paint apps on top of white paint apps on top of the gunmetal paint apps on top of the white plastic. And these are actually like white paint apps. These are not this off-white of this other one. Interesting. But yeah, white paint app on this section here. Good red stripe here. This, I'm not sure if this red section here is paint, because it definitely looks like it's its own part, but it could also be painted. I don't know. It could just be a white. It could just be a white piece of plastic that's been painted red and then inserted in. But it could also just be. It doesn't look like it's got the same shade of either this white ABS or this white POM. Or sorry, red. Get my color straight, Zach. Jeez. Anyhow, let's get this guy transformed up. So to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to start with the legs, I suppose. So you want to take and you want to click these in like that. You want to take this, fold that in, fold that in. That'll get you started. You want to take and undo this panel here. Just hook your finger into that and pull this around. That hole is going to fit into that peg right there. There's that. And you're going to kind of combine and wars up his leg like so. Before we get too far, actually, let's just undo this. Pull this up. Bring this down. This part here is on the spring, so when it goes in, it automatically collapses down. When you pull this up, it'll pop up. But then you got to make sure that that stays up. If you can put it on in such a way, if you're sloppy or aren't paying attention, where it kind of goes under and then it doesn't stick up, it looks weird. But definitely do it the right way, it looks best. So then when you plug this in, you can actually take and plug this peg into that hole right there. And there we go. Fold, click that into place, bring this around, peg that in, collapse that down, peg that in, and that is basically his legs. Basically. Now for his chest, we want to take and unpeg these panels right here. They just kind of fit in like that. We're going to pull out his arms. That will unpeg this section here. Then you can take this and fold it in. His head will just, there's little trap doors here in his backpack, and his head will just kind of go shoop. Which, by the way, if you really want to, you can transform him with this piece of armor on. Oh, never mind, I lied. No, I didn't lie. You can transform it with that piece of armor on, but you gotta turn his head around. Or you can just, do it like that. There are places for this to go, don't worry, but, some people I know prefer that head, and you can just never take it off if you feel like it. So straighten this out. Straighten this out, and these are just gonna kind of hang out around here for the moment. You want to take his arm, it's gonna rotate around. You want to take his hand, fold this up, fold this panel out, fold his hand back in, like so. Then you're going to fold this down, and just kind of collapse this all in on itself. This peg here is going to go into that hole there. And that is an arm all done. Same for the other side, just kind of collapse this all in. Ooh. Fold this out, fold that in. When this comes around, you're going to plug in that one right there. plug it in. There we go. And then bring this down. And this tab is going to fit into that slot right there. You may not be able to see it, but trust me, it's happening. Ta-da! You want to take and pull these down, pull this out. There's this tab right here, this panel, this flap right here will come out, and then it just kind of clicks into place. Bring it down, click it into place, pull this panel out, pull this down, flip this into place. Stick these up, and there he is in his jet mode, and he is big. I think this is the biggest alt mode official transformer I've had since I had the Revenge of the Fallen leader class Jetfire. So funny how that works out. And this figure, I mean, it looks really good in this mode. It looks very show accurate. I mean, it doesn't have the same sort of sexiness as the Shoji Kawamori designed Macross jets that Jetfire is kind of based off of, but it does what it's supposed to do, and it does it very well, actually. But yeah, it looks really good, striking white and red design. My wife would really enjoy that because Indonesia. But some cool things that you can do with this. He of course has these little panels right here. He's got some additional ones that you can flip out here. And you can take, stop Kamen Rider and kicking. You can take any figure with 5mm hands, and you can just like hang them off the bottom like so. I don't know why. I don't think that was ever done in the show. As I recall, I don't know, maybe I'd have to watch that episode again. But that's something that you can do. I'm waiting for someone to make a little sticker to go into here to kind of turn this into like a window that opens up, because Jetfire in his alt mode is supposed to be like ridiculously huge, kind of like Astro Train. Astro Train turns into a robot the same size as everybody else, but then turns into a train that like everybody can pile into. Like Jetfire is bigger than everybody else, but then he's like really, really, really bigger than everybody else in his alt mode. He's got some landing gears, so you can take and fold out his front landing gear here, and his back landing gears here, and sit him down, and he'll even roll. He'll actually roll fairly well. Not that rolling is really an airplane's primary job, but it's, you know, kind of an important thing you gotta do if you're like taking off and landing. Another thing you can do with this, if we pop this open, you can open this cockpit here, and he's got this like weird thing in here, but you can take this weird thing out. Out, I say. Out. Jeez. It's hard to get a grip on it. Oh my gosh. Come out. I command thee. This is really supposed to happen, I promise. Oh jeez, this thing is being a pain in the butt. I swear, you can do things like 20 times, and it works just fine 20 times. And then like the one moment you turn on the freaking camera, it's like, oh, by the way, this is the point when I'm going to not work at all for any reason whatsoever. Effing piece of junk, stupid shit. It's supposed to come out. Okay, this is ridiculous. Fuck, Jesus. Anyhow, there's this little thing here. And then with this out, you can actually plug a little Titan Master inside there. Man, that was a lot of work for what is arguably the lamest detail on him. And this is just molded in gray plastic, so I didn't even mess up the paint or anything like that using my little tool. I need to get myself a plastic spudger one of these days. But in the meantime, the metal spudger will have to do. He's got a peg hole on him. I bet you can... I don't know why it has a peg hole in here. But you can peg it onto stuff. Weird. Well, that's going to go in there and probably never ever come out again. Yeah, probably never ever come out again. So for all of his accessories, so if you take this, you can pop this open right here. This little same peg plugs into there. Wow, why did that come off? Oh yeah, it's because I've got the camera rolling. Number 862 and shit that's never happened before. Then you take these, there's a peg here, and you're going to just peg that into the... Actually, I'm going to do this one first. Plug these together. Fold that up. This has got two little pegs back here, two little pegs back up here. There's the slots and slots. That'll peg in just like that. Then you got this will peg in, this peg will fit into that slot. This tab will fit into that slot on the gun. And then this tab will fit into that slot right there. So just kind of line all that up. Do the same for the other side. That works out. You can take this guy here, you'll see he's got this shape here, and there's a corresponding shape there. Flip that around. That'll just slide in like that. And then this will slide in on top of it. Like so. Like so. And there's all of that part pegged together. You've got this one little hole right here on the back. The gun fits into that. And then you can take this, and plug that, plug that, plug that. Stick it in there. Again, plug that, and plug that. And there you have literally all of his accessories stacked up on him in this big, like, you know, death conglomeration. And he can store all of his accessories, in his alt mode. And that's kind of cool. But that's about all I have to say about Jetfire. I think he's fun. I think he's cool. I definitely like the whole commander class thing. You know, bigger, more engineering than leader class. And just, you know, I bought this. So, I mean, I like Jetfire. I like Jetfire a lot, actually. I've got a bunch of different Jetfires and, of course, you know, whatnot. But what I really like is Star Saber, and I'm hoping that if enough people are like, dude, we should buy this Commander Class figure, Hasbro's like, man, people bought that Commander Class. We should build more Commander Class guys, and hopefully they think, oh gosh, we should make Star Saber. Star Saber. Let's get a Commander Class Star Saber. Anybody watching this, like, tweet it to Hasbro or, like, message them on Facebook and be like, guys, Commander Class Star Saber. Right up, guys. Straight up. I'm initiating this campaign. All, like, 8 of you who are going to watch this video. Commander Class Star Saber. Let's make it happen. Anyhow, thanks everybody for watching. You guys are fantastic. Have a wonderful day and be good to each other. See ya.